Welcome. I'm so excited to have you joining me today. I hope that you've gotten something out of the past 9 episodes. Today is episode 10, and this is called Let's Talk. It's the podcast video way to communicate for the change makers of East Texas. I'm Michelle Cox. I'm a life coach. I'm excited to have you join me, and as we talk about and explore different challenges, different things that we seek for, different ways that we want to improve and enlighten our lives. And today's episode is called Closeness and Connection. And I want to start out with a quote from Brene Brown. This is from her fabulous book, Atlas of the Heart. And she says, "Love and belonging are irreducible needs for all people. In the absence of these experiences, there is always suffering." And I think that's probably why I thought to talk about this topic, because when I feel close, when I feel connected to the important people in my life, and I feel connected to myself and my identity and feeling confident about who I am and what I'm trying to do and, and what my purpose is, things like that, there's a significant feeling of peace that comes. And when I'm unsure, when I'm feeling disconnected from a loved one, when I'm unsure of my place in their life or how to communicate in a way that's going to, bring dialogue and compromise or understanding, all those kinds of things, then it is suffering. It is very painful. And as a mother, I have 6 kids, and so there's always an ebb and flow of closeness and connection with each of my children and with my spouse and with my family members, my family of origin, and my close friends even. Sometimes I feel more close and connected, and sometimes I feel less so. And what I would like to share today is a principle that connection is an essential part of our existence. I mean, it really is a key to our nervous system feeling safe. And when our nervous system feels safe, when we are able to just live in our zone of resilience, our parasympathetic nervous system is just humming along, that's where we thrive. That's where we rest and digest. That's where all of our physical systems, our emotional system are all at their peak and at their prime. And so I have this poster here. A supported nervous system is a resilient nervous system. It's just true. This is how we can have a healthy, resilient experience. And our nervous system is guiding everything, all the information we're taking in, right? So this is 5 keys to nervous system support. And this is something that I've learned from Leah Davidson, who's a nervous system expert. And she talks about how connection is such an important part of our nervous system feeling safe and feeling that zone of resilience and that feeling like you're home and you can regroup and rewire and rebuild and everything is flowing and healthy. And she talks about movement, nutrition, sunlight, sleep. These are all really important keys to having a supported nervous system. And I always like to ask people, so what do you do when you want to take care of your teeth? And everyone can easily say, oh yeah, brush your teeth, go to the dentist twice a year, floss, use scope, all the things. And I could ask, okay, what do you do if you want to have a healthy heart? You'll talk about exercise and the proper diet and all that. But we don't really talk in general as a public community so much about how to have a healthy nervous system. And I think this is becoming more and more prevalent in our conversations as we know more and it's being pushed into more of the public sector and into schools and things that's so important. But really, I think if I stopped anyone on the street and asked them about their teeth and their heart, they could give me those answers. But when I say your nervous system, I think a lot of people would be kind of mystified. I don't know. What is my nervous system? So connection. Why is connection so important? This is our mental health, our emotional wellness, our physical well being. It's all tied together by our nervous system. And we need connection. So, what does connection even mean? Connection, I think, is easily defined as having a feeling of safety when you're with somebody else. And there's a feeling of vulnerability, and it's okay. It actually feels good to be vulnerable with this person. And I know that they're going to keep sacred what I share with them. And when they share with me, I keep it sacred too. And I accept and I embrace and I enjoy hearing what's deep in their heart or what's on their mind. I'm attuned to them and their needs, and they are attuned to me. That to me is connection, where you feel like you can be yourself and you can be authentic and you can share your concerns. You can share what you're wondering about. You can share what delights you and what you're excited about. Because I think even sharing something that means a lot to you and brings you a lot of joy takes vulnerability. Because you might be afraid, if I share how much I love this interest, this hobby, this um, I don't know, this public concern or whatever it is that you are really attached to, and you're not sure how someone's going to hold on to that. You don't know if they're going to hold it sacred for you. Then sharing even something that brings you delight and a positive feeling can be difficult if you're not sure about the other person, and there's not that closeness, there's not that connection. Um, I think, which leads me to think that so much of this is about trust. Do I trust this person? Do I trust them that they're going to take care of this information that I'm sharing with them? Do I trust that they are going to reciprocate or and be open and vulnerable with me? Are they going to be authentic? And so, as you can see, how critical that is for a marriage relationship. There needs to be that vulnerability, that ability to talk about the hard things and the personal, deep things and feel like it's going to be received. So, how do we create closeness? How do we create connection with someone? Um, I was thinking back to my college years and all the dating, going out with different guys and meeting people and trying to, get that introduction, and we can tell. I think our nervous system is so sharp and so quick to pick up on details and pick up on nuances of people that we can very easily, oftentimes, very easily get a sense of, yeah, I'm safe with this person, or I'm not safe with this person, and I don't want to pursue this any further, or I really want to see this person again and get to know them better. Um, so that's, I think, where we can be like, listen in and tune in and see what what little impulses or the word I'm thinking of is instinct. Like, there's an instinctiveness to closeness and connection, but it's not always perfect. So I can think of people that I didn't really hit it off with, even just for friends, like women and men, as a college student, and trying to make friendships or to, be able to ask someone for help with something. There's an instinct, but sometimes our instinct can be misguided by past experiences where we misjudge someone and we can miss out on a close, connected relationship. Um, and so we also need to take a minute to reflect on, why do I maybe have my guard up when I meet somebody? And why, and what can I learn from it? And what can I gain that's actually an insight into myself? Why am I not allowing this person into my heart? And why am I maybe being a little bit defensive or guarded or standoffish? And a lot of it can come from, like I said, our past experiences. So um, I think this is such a fabulous thing to understand about our brains. Our brains are amazing. Our brain can look to the past. Our brain can, um, look to what's happening right now and read it and judge it and decipher it and analyze and do all those things. And our brain can also look to the past. Our brain can look to the past and recall what happened then and what might happen again. Um, and at the same time, the body is always present. So I can think about what happened 25 years ago, and if I had a negative experience with somebody, um, and then today I recall that, I think about it, I can have those same kind of sensations in my body, my muscles getting tight, or, kind of looking over my shoulder and being concerned. My body's going to do that right now, even though I'm just recalling something. I'm just pulling up a memory, something that happened 25 years ago, but was so uncomfortable or awkward or embarrassing. Um, and my body feels it as if it's happening right now. And so that can influence while I meet someone who reminds me of this person from my past, this kind of embarrassing situation or painful situation, and I'm going to be kind of repelled by them. And it's not their fault. They might just kind of look like that person or have similar mannerisms or just maybe similar interests or just kind of way that they conduct themselves. And because my brain is pulling up this past memory that has some pain attached to it, then I might be more guarded and just avoid somebody. um, and sometimes it's for good reason. Yeah. And sometimes maybe not. Maybe, again, we're missing out on an opportunity for a friendship. And so we need to also look at why am I responding to this person this way? Is there something that my brain is pulling up from the past and um, recalling and applying to this situation right now? So with connection and closeness, when you do find someone that you feel that safety, you have that instinct of this is a safe environment for me. This relationship is good. And it could just be like a work relationship, it could be a neighbor, a friend, um, and someone that you don't even really see a whole lot. And um, but when you find that feeling of safety with someone and you feel that it's genuine and that they're reciprocating, it creates a sense of community, that you have a community. You have people that you can rely on, you can turn to. If there's some sort of emergency that arises, you've got someone you can call. And that's very comforting. That's very comforting for our body, our brain, our nervous system, for all of it. And and that's going to help benefit you so much in so many ways to feel that. Um, so becoming close to someone, building that connection, it takes time. When I was a kid, when I grew up overseas, we moved a lot. Um, Not just overseas, but here in the United States, we moved to different houses and to a different neighborhood, to a different school, or to a different state or a different country across the ocean. So I had a lot of experience with being the new kid. The new kid was not my favorite status. It wasn't very fun because you'd walk into the school lunchroom and not know the routine, have to figure out where food is served. I have my brown paper bag of my lunch and I've got to figure out where to sit. I don't know who to sit by. And it's a very, very, very uncomfortable feeling to walk into a room and not really know anyone and not know how to conduct yourself and don't know how to maneuver socially. And I just remember every time I was the new kid in school, lunch was my least favorite, my least favorite time of the day, and trying to figure out what to do. And then I can think to how later on in the school year I've established friendships. I feel confident. I know where things are. I know this whole routine, and there's not that anxiety of the newness and just not having a frame of reference. And I loved lunch. Lunch period became one of my favorite times of the day. Then I was sitting with my friends and we could relax and we could joke and laugh and have a great time. And so how do we maneuver from being that new kid, doesn't know anything, and then moves on and sticks with it and builds those friendships? With my kids and with myself too, I find that extending myself to be the one who's friendly goes so far. Not only for the people that I just walk up to, hi, introduce myself, can I sit with you? Or do you want to sit with me? Like, that's really, really good for them. But it's also really, really good for me. It helps me to develop self trust. It helps me to develop that self esteem and that confidence that I fit here, even though maybe I'm kind of new. I have a place and I can do something productive. I can reach out to someone else and say, hey, do you want to sit with me? And I remember doing that when I was in high school and we'd moved to Germany and I was feeling really nervous that first day of school in the new lunchroom and I don't know the routine. And and I was just kind of standing there with my tray of food and, or my paper bag, whatever it was that I had, and I just looked around the room like, where on earth do I sit? This is so awkward. And you just imagine like everybody's looking at me, and they're probably not. They're just looking at each other. Or they're trying to figure out where to sit because there's a lot of new kids every year. But I just remember this one girl, she was from Brazil, and I went to an international school, and she was sitting alone at a table, and I just kind of walked up to her and I was like, can I sit here with you? And she was like, sure. And I could tell she was just as nervous as I was. And for her, she'd never moved overseas, she'd never left her country before. And this was my second country, well, third actually. So my third country to live in, and so I could, suddenly felt some compassion for her that this was her first time as we got to talk and get to know each other and just started asking her questions. And by me becoming curious about her, that helped to calm my anxiety and then open up myself to this new connection and this new possible person I could be close to. And over the year, we got to be good friends. We never really hung out a whole lot outside of school. We kind of made our friend groups as we went. Um, but we did stay like on friendly terms, and she was someone that I would like to sit with and talk with. And so I'm really glad that we were able to have that interaction where it taught me that I could have the courage to be the one to initiate a conversation. I could initiate the sitting together in the lunchroom, and how much that helped me to gain some confidence and be able to do that again and again, because I've had to do that kind of thing many times, being new in a neighborhood or new at church. um, but I can definitely say that when I have kept to myself and I have not had the courage, or I've not mustered up that courage. I have it. It's all I really believe that we have it in us. It's whether we're calling it up or not. And there've definitely been times where I have stifled that courage and then let myself be overtaken by the anxiety and then not extend myself and not reach out. And how much that does hurt me in the long run, and it diminishes my ability to be there for somebody else when I'm really focused on my own anxiety. Um, so the other thing I wanted to share, I want to do a little demonstration then, just to show like how this works on the mindset part of things, because our nervous system is a big key. Our mindset is another big key, because whatever we're pulling and running into our minds, we kind of run a system or run a program that's going to influence our nervous system. So I can create a feeling of unsafety, of danger by my own thoughts. So just going to the new kid scenario, new kid at school, and this might be helpful for you if you have children who are going to start a new school. You might show them this little demonstration. So I'm the new kid at the school. Okay. And I can think something like, this is terrifying. I don't know anyone. I have no friends. Let's put it that way. That's a little more dramatic. I have no friends here. So when I think that thought, I'm the new kid, and that means that I don't know anyone and I have no friends. This is terrifying. That becomes the program that's running. My nervous system is going to say, danger. This is dangerous. I'm too vulnerable. I'm just like a target for anything to happen because I can't defend myself. I don't know what to expect. I don't know what the boundaries are. I don't know what the limits are and the routine and all this stuff. And so, yeah, your nervous system can feel totally triggered. So, when I think this is terrifying, I have no friends, I personally tend to go into flight mode where I get really anxious and I get hypervigilant. Hypervigilance is a great way of describing when you're triggered and you're just watching for something to go wrong, just watching to be the one who trips and drops their food, or just watching and expecting someone's going to make fun of you or say, no, you can't sit here, or something like that. Someone gives you the wrong information, so then you do the wrong thing. Um, and that's where anxiety is. Anxiety resides in that fear of the worst case scenario and not trusting yourself to be able to handle it and just get up and brush yourself off and keep going. There's a lack of self-trust with anxiety. So this is terrifying. I have no friends here. Then yeah, there's the lack of self-trust. So if an emotion can be a lack of something, that's what I'm going to share this way. There's a lack of self-trust, because I really want to emphasize that. And the opposite of what you would be experiencing then would be self-doubt. But I want to highlight the self-trust issue, that there's a lack of that. And that's what makes building connection with others, making closeness a possibility. It really sabotages that. So self-doubt and anxiety, oh man, I felt so much anxiety on those first days. And so then how am I going to behave if I'm operating out of this? This is terrifying. I have no friends here, and my nervous system is triggered, and I'm in flight mode. I'm feeling self-doubt and anxiety in my body because of my thinking and my nervous system. Then I'm likely to not try to talk to people. Right? I'm going to stay reserved. Keep to myself. Okay, so then what would the result be? In the terms of building connection and closeness, am I going to build any connection or closeness with anybody when I'm keeping to myself and I'm kind of operating out of this? No connection, right? No new friends. So if you share this with your kids, help them to see if the result is that you want new friends, you want to feel comfortable, you want to feel like you fit in and you have a place, you can't stay here. I have no friends. This is terrifying. Everything's going to go wrong. If you stay here, you're going to stay with this result. So kids who might be listening, you get to have the power of change. You are the catalyst for you to have change. If you want a different result, you want to feel different, you want to have a different result, you want to behave differently, you've got to look at your thoughts and your nervous system. How is it guiding you? How is it influencing the way that you interact with other people? Okay, because this is magic. I always feel like this is magic, and I love telling kids, this is magic. I'm a life coach for kids. I'm certified through the Adventures in Wisdom program. And so I love telling kids how much power they actually have in changing their life. Completely change your experience by taking ownership and taking responsibility for your actions. But you can't really take responsibility for your actions unless you are fueled by an empowering emotion and an empowering thought. And calm your nervous system down. Help yourself feel that self-trust. Self-trust is a huge part of calming down the nervous system from the sympathetic and relaxing it back into parasympathetic, where you are going to rest and digest. Your thinking and reasoning part of your brain will be back on. So kids, listen to this carefully. If you're feeling really bad about not having friends, you don't have friends, okay, that is painful. You need friends. It's really important to have these connections. It's really important for your well-being, all of you, all the parts of you really benefit from good friendships and people who are going to support you and encourage you. You don't want just any friend. You want friends who are going to support you and encourage you to be your best self. We don't want friends who are handing us drugs and alcohol. Kids, those are not your friends. What you want is a friend who's going to encourage you to be your best self, to have the best future possible, and encouraging you to do well in school. And hey, let's do well together. Let's go try out for basketball teams together. Let's start a club and invite everyone and include. that's the kind of friend you want to have, and that's the kind of friend you can be. So let's see how to do that. Okay, so I'm the new kid. Scenario or the circumstance does not need to change for you to have a different experience in your life. Circumstance can stay completely the same. Being the new kid. I'm the new kid. And you can, instead of saying, I'm terrified, this is terrifying, this is like, what if I do the wrong things? You can choose a new thought. And it's hard sometimes to come up with that thought right away. So if we want to start backwards, we can start here. What's the result that I really want? I want to have friends. Okay? I want to make friends. Make new friends. I don't want to be alone. I want to have connection and closeness. I want to feel close to people. That they're someone I can talk to and share and laugh with and cry with and feel close to. Okay, feel close to them. Have that vulnerability, authenticity. That's what we want. We don't need to have a big wall around us all the time. And authenticity. Okay, so kids, if this is what you want when you go to school this fall, you want to make new friends, feel close to others. What are you going to have to do to make that happen? Sometimes you might have someone who's like, hey, come sit with me. And I had that experience. So I remember coming back to the States in 8th grade. We were coming back to an area that we'd lived in before. So I did have a friend at school, had one friend. And she was so kind. She invited me to join her group and to sit with them and come to their hangouts and the parties and things at their birthday parties and their fun things. So that was wonderful to have that. But I didn't always have that every school I went to. I had to do something myself. I had to be proactive. So if I want friends, what am I going to do? And maybe even this feels hard to figure out. Okay, so let's come back to this. How do I want to feel? How do I think that I need to feel inside of me in order to go up to someone and introduce myself? Or invite them to sit with me so that we can kind of get to know each other. We're both new. We can tell we're both lost. What am I going to do? How do I need to feel? So it might be that you feel compassion. Like that one time with the Brazilian student, I realized she was also new. I felt compassion for her. I felt empathy. Okay, so compassion. Think about every person in that lunchroom has some feelings of insecurity. Every one of them. I can have compassion for every student in this room. I don't need to look at them as an enemy. They're not my enemy. They're just unknown right now. And my brain is trying to say that's a threat because I don't know if I can trust them or not. But I can train my brain and my nervous system to not treat others who are like strangers or where they're unfamiliar and just automatically make them an enemy. I don't have to do that. I can train myself not to do that. So compassion, I have empathy. This person might be feeling lonely too. Maybe they had a horrible summer, maybe some really hard things happened. And so when I approach people with compassion and empathy, I'm so much more open to allowing them in, giving them a chance, letting my instinct be a little more open for that person. I can also become creative. Okay, so I want to make new friends. How can I do it? That's a creativity sparking, generating kind of question. How can I do it? Okay, so let's go up to thought. How can I make friends? How can I make this a good experience? How can I make this new school a good experience? Okay, so these are questions that I can ask myself that generate curiosity and creativity. Let's do curious. Okay, and as I think, I want to make friends, my goal is to make friends. How can I do that? Then your brain starts to look for opportunities. Your reticular activated system is going to start looking around the room for people who look safe to you, that are just instinctively like, oh, that person reminds me of my friend at my old school. Maybe she'll also be nice to me. That guy's pretty funny. Maybe he's a welcoming kind of person. You're going to start to look for the good and look for the good possibilities in people. And so when you're curious and looking, how's this going to be good? Instead of how's this going to be bad? How's this going to go wrong? How am I going to make a fool of myself and get rejected? I don't want to feel rejection. So instead, turning it into, how can I make this good? How can I make this a fun experience? How can I make this positive and adjust into it and grow into this new situation? So then your action line will be, when you're thinking, how can I make friends? And how can I make this a good experience? And you're looking for the good in others, right? Look for common interests. That's a good place to start. That's fine. And then you branch out and you find people that you have a lot of different interests, but have like a common, just a good feeling around each other. You just like each other. You can laugh. You can talk about things. You don't always have to have a lot of common interests. But that's a really good way to start. So then you might find yourself inviting others to sit with you or asking if you can sit with them. To sit together or share materials or something. You'll maybe, let's see, you'll ask questions. Ask them, get to know them questions. Ask questions. And you might say, I don't know where the nurse's room is and I need to get something. I don't know. You just start to feel okay asking and showing that you don't know the layout, you don't know the routine, and it's okay. You're comfortable with that. You're okay asking questions. And that really's got to start with you feeling safe in your body, creating that feeling of safety. And it's totally connected. These are so connected. Your thinking, your nervous system state. So connected. Your emotional experience is a result of that. So, my friends, so kids who might watch this or parents who want to help coach their child for a new school year, help your child look at what is the final result. What is the result they want to have? If they're just trying to avoid making a fool of themselves, that might not be the best reason to operate. It like really if they want to feel confident in themselves, they want to build that self-trust, they want to build friendships with people because it just feels good. I like having friends. That's a good reason. That's a better reason than I don't want to make a fool of myself or I don't want to be rejected. I don't want to be an outcast. I do want to be close. I do want to have friendship. Then you're going to look for the right kind of kids too to be around. Um, and ones that aren't going to be causing trouble, wanting to do deviant behaviors. So, but this is the magic of it. Calming your nervous system, changing your thinking, like that works together, and then you create everything else. So I hope you enjoyed this little demonstration of the thought cycle diagram. But that's one way that you can help kids, especially when they're kind of adjusting into a new school year, building connection, creating closeness, asking questions, being vulnerable, sharing your concerns, sharing what's special to you, what makes you happy as well as what makes you sad. That's all really powerful ways. And then realizing not everybody wants to be close. Not everybody wants to be close to you right now. And giving people space is a big part of creating that feeling of connection, because give them space, they don't feel threatened, they don't feel like intruded upon. And then when they do feel ready, then they can open up to you and you can build more of that friendship, that relationship. So like give it time. Learn how to read people by learning how to read yourself. Read your nervous system, and then you can read other people's better. All right. Thank you so much for joining me. Come join me again next week for another discussion on Let's Talk. And I hope you have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.